I've created a web application using Sinatra, which is basically used for simple web framework. And so I'll show you what it looks like. First, it's like a journaling application. So this is the home page, and you can sign in. And if you realize, hey, I don't have an account, you can create an account. So we'll just say Lolly. And then it'll automatically take you to your profile where you can create an entry. So we'll say Lolly, happy. What is going on? And then a body, we'll just say I love programming. We can create this. And so Lolly can now look at her entry where she can edit or delete it. So we'll just change this to Molly and edit it. And now you can see that it says Molly. She can also create another one. And I'm just going to just do this real quick. Create it. And so you can create as many entries as you'd like. If you decide you want to edit it, just take it out and hit edit. And you'll see that that field is now empty. You can also click it and delete it. You can click it and say if you don't want to edit it, you can go back. It'll take you back to your home page for your profile. And yeah, and you can also, I think I already showed this, but you can also delete them. Let me just create one so you can see that this one says Molly is the author. If you log out, you can sign into another account. And this one will be, you can sign in as someone else, and you see that this is now this person's account, which can do all the same things, but all of the entries will be unique to the user. So yeah, so that's basically it. It's just a simple journaling app. And now let's look at the code for this. Oh, where do we start? I guess I'll start from the top and kind of just go down. It's probably the easiest as there's a lot of files here. Okay, so here are our controllers in our app folder. We have our application controller, which is like the main controller that has, we're setting this public folder here so I can see my CSS. We have our views, so we can see the views for each route that each route is rendering to. We have an enable sessions and set sessions to secret. This would usually be something more complex, but for the sake of this assignment, we just have this basic string here. And this just basically is saying that, you know, every session will be unique to a user per their ID or by their ID. So we have like this main route, which is our home page, is rendering to a failure page if an input is put in incorrectly, such as the username or the password. And we have a sign up, and which will get that URL, and then it'll post their sign up stuff. A login, log out, our helper methods, which will check if a user is logged in. If they're not, it'll go back to the home page. Current user method, which helps with that sessions. So this verifies that that there is a user and that there is an authentic password for that user specifically. And if it is, it'll go to their homepage. If not, it'll read this error message. And I know if you were to create something like this, you would probably want a user's you would want a user's controller, but for the sake of this, I just have it all in my applications controller. You'd want a user's controller for like the login and the sign up and log out stuff. So then we have our entries controller, which will inherit from our application controller. So everything in our application controller will be used in our entries controller, as well as the routes here that we have. So it's like entries, like they can't see entries if they're not logged in, it'll redirect them. And we have that method in our application controller, so that's why it works here. And it's for current user, so that way a user can only be shown their entries. So we have an entries new. Then they can edit, they can update. Oh, edit and update's the same. We have this get request so that they can edit with the patch request based off their ID. And they can also delete here. And the way that this works is because you can't delete or update anything with this type of framework unless you have the rack method override, which uses Sinatra's middleware, so that you can delete and update forms. So that's the controllers. Then we have our models. Our entry model, which states that an entry belongs to a user, and then our user model, which states that a user has many entries. It'll also have or validate their username and that it's unique, so that way, you know, two people can have the same username, and that way our software will know whose page belongs to who, and also validate that they have a password. And this has secure method will give us some methods just like active record. And we use this because we have a let me find it, password digest string for when a user enters their password. We don't want anyone to be able to see it, including the developers, so it will encrypt their password. The views is where you'll put your or where your route will render to, and it's basically Sinatra has this uses ERB to turn this into like an HTML form that can use Ruby code in it, as you see here. This is like the home page, the login, and in the login, I'll show you how it links to the CSS. It also has a form, what can I say? Oh, right here. Form method posts. So this is the method to create. It'll go to the login URL with the action. The user can input their username, their password, and then this link, you know, as I showed you the create account, it'll link to the sign up URL if they do not have an account, which is here. And this is how a user can create an account using the same kind of logic, using the form, method post, and action sign up, which is all in our applications controller. So that's that. Here's our database YML file that says that while in development, we're going to use the SQLite 3 adapter, and then we're going to name our database entries. And then here we're going to require all of our files in our app folder, which is our models and our controllers, and you don't do the views because in your controller, you set the views here. Your database, that's where that database entries was created, and so it'll create this file here where you can do your migrations, which will hold your tables for data that you want stored in a database. So I have a few because I had to add some columns, but we have this migration called create users that will take in a string of a username, and then this password digest that will encrypt the password using a gem called bcrypt. Then you'll also put it, then use this, has that secure password method. Oops, sorry. Getting close to me, it gets hard for me to like see what's going on. Here's our table for our entries, where we have the string for author, mood, and body, and then I added some more columns, which was the user ID, so that way a user can only see their entry. And then the title, and then I have some that I removed. I removed the time. So that's with that, and then we'll also inherit from active record. Public is just where I'm holding my CSS, which you will link in your views folder at the top here. And our config root, we're going to use our rack method override, which will allow you to update and delete entries. The only way that you can update or use the patch and delete requests in Sinatra is by using this middleware of rack method override. Make sure you clear your environment. Then we're going to say we're going to run our application controller and then use entries controller. Our gem file, which uses the gem of active records, Sinatra active record, rake, SQLite 3, and bcrypt. And then our development uses this for testing. And then our, did I see this one? I showed you that. Our rake file is how we're going to be using those gems. And then also we have this block here for pry, so that way we can call rake console, and I'll pull up our pry in our terminal. And that is pretty much it. Thank you for watching.